get moving into our presenter today. This presenter is really super special to us because he is a Startup Weekend alum. All right, so that means 2 weeks ago when you were all here talking about Soda City Startup and we had the panel and everything else, this guy came out of that, a session of that a couple of years ago. So we're interested to hear what Jonathan Larry has to say. Please welcome Jonathan from Upliff.
Hello everyone, I am excited to be here. It's been a while since I've been able to make it up to 1 Million Cups here in Columbia. I'm from the Aiken, Augusta area, so it's about an hour or so drive, but I'm glad to see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new ones as well. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. And for those of you who don't know me, we'll start out with a little about myself. So I grew up in North Augusta, South Carolina, and went to the University of South Carolina, Aiken. Had the option to come to Columbia, but I wanted to stay home, and so just went to the local campus there. And I've been working in economic development for about the past 7 years. I started my freshman year in college as an intern, and then full-time after I graduated. And so aside from all of that, I've always had a passion and an interest in business and technology, and I also like to read and watch a lot of news. And so that's really what got me started with Upliff. And so these are a couple news sources and a couple social media networks that I'm sure you're familiar with. I get my news from a lot of different sources. And one thing that was consistent across all of those sources is that the number of bad news stories outweighs the number of positive news stories all the time. And so you have this, and then on social media, you have the negativity that's grown, whether it's through bullying, mean tweets, or people fighting over politics all the time. And so all of this negativity really got me thinking. And so I said, I'm tired of seeing all this bad news. You know, I'm tired of seeing all this stuff on social media. It can make us feel frustrated, angry, upset, sad, all that stuff. So what can be done about this? And so in 2014, my senior year at USC Aiken, my solution to this was something called Good Convos, short for Good Conversations. And so I worked on a business plan for this idea. Throughout the summer, reached out to SPDC and SCORE, and ultimately I had a website developed, but I decided not to launch it at that time. And there were several reasons for that, but it was mainly because I wasn't really ready to do that. I was transitioning into the real world from college, you know, starting a full-time job and everything, and I personally just wasn't ready, didn't have the skills or knowledge yet. But aside from that, some other reasons I didn't launch the website that I spent over $1,000 on getting developed, and was because I wanted a simple product with a better user experience. And so I really wouldn't trade that experience for anything because I learned a lot. I was totally new to the startup scene and really was just not ready to go with this idea yet. But what you see there is a screenshot of the landing page that you would have seen at goodconvos.com. And so putting all of that aside, I went back to the drawing board and said, okay, what other startup resources are there here in South Carolina that could help me with this idea? And so that's when I got connected with the USC Columbia Technology Incubator, and they told me about some networking events that were going on as well as Startup Weekend. And so that leads to where Upliff really got started. And so I was one of the participants at Startup Weekend 2015 in November, and I pitched Good Convos as a good news app. And what you're seeing, there are a few pictures from the weekend as well as the team. And thankfully, Good Convos was chosen as an idea to be worked on. And it was quite an exciting weekend, but that Thursday, let me see here. So Friday, that's what it was. Friday night, the team said the name has to change. And so we said, okay, Good Convos isn't working, so we're going to change it to Uplift. We actually wanted to use the correct spelling of Uplift, as in U-P-L-I-F-T, but the domain name was already taken, so we just dropped the T and added an F. That's the short story behind it. But it's worked out so far. It's a little quirky, which is kind of what we were going for. So at the end of Startup Weekend, Uplift became this social networking app that was a place that people could go to just to share the good happening. And so the social networking side of things is still a goal of ours, but right now Upliff is a website at upliff.com that individuals and organizations can join. And so why is Upliff here? Well, Upliff is for people who want to break away from all the constant negativity that's expressed in our world today. And so, Upliff was just something that I wanted to do to create a space that people could go to get away from all the negativity that we see in everyday life, whether it's from the news, social media, or other places. And so, maybe asking, why is this something that I decided to do? Why I've been working on this for 2 years. I put off my master's degree, really, to pursue this, and one big reason was because of social change. We live in a world that's become increasingly negative, and what incites fear, anger, hatred, and all that, and sadness has really become the norm for a lot of people. And so I wanted to change that. I believe that our world story, it needs to change to a much more positive one, and hopefully Upliff can help achieve that goal. And I always like to close presentations by saying at Upliff, we know what's good, and we like to uplift people through inspirational messages, sharing good news stories, and if you can change your mind, you can really change your life. And so if we can just think positive, we can live a positive life. And so with that, it's Upliff in a nutshell. Thank you for having me this morning, and I look forward to your questions and feedback.